Even I know you're not supposed to start a movie with a dream. Nobody likes it because it's cheap, it's confusing, and if it's a good dream, somebody's got to pay for it by the end. But in real life, or I guess my second life, I never saw the dream coming. My HUD buzzed on the nightstand, the wood resonating with the vibrations, waking me up and making Kest groan. "What time is it?" she grumbled without unhooking her arm from around my waist. "I don't know. I didn't set an alarm." I slapped around one-handed for the hunk of junk. Not easy with my eyes still shut and Kest lying across half of me. My palm bumped smooth plastic and glass at the edge of the soft leather band. I caught the HUD just before I knocked it off the nightstand. The notification was a message from Warcry. "Let's go, Grav. Hour 10 to tournament check-in." I sighed and strapped the HUD onto my wrist. "Be right there," I sent back. "I've got to go." I kissed Kest on the cheek. "Don't get killed," she said, already messing with a schematic on the HUD screen she'd integrated into her tricked-out prosthetic arm. "I'll be at the workshop when you get back." "What, you?" I got up and pulled my pants on. "At the workshop all day and night until somebody has to come get you? No way." "Yeah, sorry." She wasn't, and she didn't look up from the schematic. "I'm just so close to a breakthrough on this mechanical spirit sea. I was dreaming about one of the components until your dumb signal song woke me up." Signal song? I frowned down at the all-black HUD and ran my fingertips across the smooth surface of the screen. Not a crack or scratch in sight. "What happened to my Winchester?" Kest looked up at me like I was crazy. "It died like 2 years ago." "And I just threw it away and got this." "No, you begged me to rebuild it 4 times before you threw it away and got this. I keep trying to get you to upgrade to the SS-12, but—" She rolled her lacy eyes and shot me a smirk. "You're being a classic Hake about it." "What's the point in upgrading when this one still works fine?" I mumbled absently. Throwing away the Winchester didn't sound right. I wouldn't have thrown away the very first thing Kest ever gave me. I would have at least saved the broken pieces somewhere. I tried to remember deciding to ditch them or stash them, but nothing came to mind. In fact, nothing since transferring from the shuttle to the 8-legged dragon's cross-galaxy transport ship came to mind. Not meeting the gang's emperor, not getting whatever job paid for this fancy new HUD, nothing about how Kest and I ended up in the same bed together. All things you'd think you would remember about your life. "Hake?" Kest was looking up at me from her HUD, the lace in her eyes thinning out with concern. "What's wrong?" "Where's Raleigh?" Hanging out with her brother was the last thing I remembered. We'd been on the ship to the Shinotochi system, practicing cultivation and conversion. According to Raleigh, space was ideal for strengthening your spirit sea because dragging spirit in through the vacuum was hard for everybody but celestial affinities. Kest opened her mouth to answer, then stopped. In the silence, I heard birds screaming at each other outside, the tinkle of wind chimes, and the low whine of semi-tires on the highway. Closer, a coffee maker gurgled. I knew those morning sounds. There was nothing unfamiliar or alien about any of them, which made them the weirdest thing I'd experienced since dying and being dropped on a prison planet in another universe. "Where are we?" Kest asked, sliding out of bed. I only sort of half noticed she was wearing one of my shirts and looked amazing in it, which probably meant I was in serious shock. She went to a window and tried to lift the cheap plastic blinds out of the way like a curtain. Plastic shuffled and clicked. She was bending the slats and messing up the cord, but I couldn't get my brain to work well enough to explain that wasn't how you did it. Especially not when I saw the crabapple tree I always had to duck under when I mowed, and Mrs. Shaw's trailer next door with its half a dozen wind chimes and the crumbling skirting her little dog liked to chew on. Kest shook her head. "I don't recognize this place." "It's—" A fist pounded on the front door, shaking the whole trailer. Warcry's version of a polite hello. Out in the kitchen came the crackle of cheap linoleum as slippered feet shuffled across it. "Hell's wrong with these yahoos?" Gramps' voice drifted back to us. "Break down the door for a magazine subscription. Newsflash, pal, I ain't buying." I raced out into the hall and made it to the kitchen in 2 strides.